Morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel. We're gonna do a quick drive here this morning. A little dreary out, cloudy, a little foggy and rainy this morning. So we're gonna go ahead and um, kind of see how things handle here this morning as I head up to work. So kind of leaving my parents' neighborhood, just dropped off my son. So kind of a different little route as well. So here we are. We're running FSD 13.2.9. My 2024 Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive long range. I had a comment the other day. It was funny actually. Of somebody said it's very cringe that they can see it's the old trim, and yes, this is not the reactor for that little scooter that was coming out there. No, this is not the Juniper new Model Y, but this car's only a year old, so it was funny someone made that comment on one of the videos of how cringe it is to see the old trim and old steering wheel or something like that. So sorry, I don't have the new one, but like I said, this is just a year old. Got it last May, brand spanking new. So it is what it is. But yeah, so here we are. We're headed out south end of town, then the north end of town. So like I said, very cloudy and rainy this morning, and dreary, a little foggy. So see what it looks like as we get further north as well along the interstate and whatnot. See what type of traffic we hit along the drive. But running 13.2.9. Car raw software is the most up to date as well with I believe it's 14.8. Check that. Yep, so 14.8 with version 13.2.9 of full self-driving. So we'll go, before we get on the interstate, go through a little bit of the construction. They've altered the lanes a little bit too down here. I've driven through here before, made videos. So we'll kind of see what that's looking like as we're driving, how we get onto the merge here as well. Yesterday I was the only car that went through here, so we merged pretty quick. I was making a live video yesterday morning, kind of the same drive, but so here's the official drive, let's say, versus using live on YouTube. But this is it's a very short yield right here as they're doing construction. Some cars are coming from behind, off to the left pretty quick, but nobody's coming, so we should be able to make a quick, easy jump onto the main road here. All this construction here is part of some big military project to military mobilization or something like that, because Fort Carson's just down the road here. So I believe they're widening the area as well, basically all the way to under the interstate. They did the interstate work above this road for the military. So I don't know, wider to make you move tanks if you need to move tanks or something like that. Not sure 100%, but they've shifted these lanes here. So it's a newer part, I think, that they've already completed. But FSD is able to handle this, right? This is a pretty simple task at this point in terms of the versions that FSD is on. So it's not too difficult to get through here. And that's kind of where my videos have been at recently, is, or we're approaching the idea of unsupervised full self-driving in terms of what the car is able to actually do as it's obviously driving. If they're going to launch, it's June, and the big rumor is that they're going to launch robo-taxi this month as well. So that's obviously unsupervised and no steering wheel in that thing for the last rendering, or the last model that we saw, the last Tesla event. And so being able to navigate a lot of different complex situations in construction zones like this is a very complex situation, especially as they constantly alter the lanes and change, and especially through here, they have a lot of weeks they have nightly closures of the road. So They do a lot of work overnight, building the wall that you see here as well. And then just above us is the interstate. So driving here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, I think some people like to know where we're at, especially right now since you can't. We're facing west, and on a good sunny morning, you would see great view of the mountains. Uh, it would be Shine Mountain directly in front of us, and off to the right would be Pikes Peak. But like I said, it's been a very interesting start to the end of May and to the beginning of June in this area. Usually we get a lot of a lot of sunshine, and we've been getting smacked with right into a pothole. Getting smacked with a lot of rain recently, so that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Looks like we're getting see a little bit of traffic, a little bit more traffic up here on the interstate this morning. So we're gonna merge into this, which should be an easy task. I moved this yesterday, so there's a little trick. I can move my little side camera around. I'm pretty sure I had that moved yesterday, especially if I'm holding the wheel and driving. If I'm not running FSD, which is not often, I'm not running it, but it would be right in my way soon. It says, whether it's turning or merging lanes or, excuse me, changing lanes and things like that. So, but make a little camera adjustment real quick. But yeah, a little drizzly morning this morning, cloudy. It was foggy, I think they said on the news this morning. So I don't know if we'll hit some fog as we make our way up. Oh, ooh, slamming on the brakes there. That actually caught me off guard. Welcome to Colorado. I've talked about that. Just literally just stop. We're literally driving in the middle of an interstate here. It looks like we're having an issue with a car up here, possibly. Kind of hear it as well. Struggling a little ice car. But that's a typical thing here. They look everybody, especially on this interstate, loves to just slam on their brakes last minute, and they wonder what causes accidents. I wonder. But whatever car up here is doing, so driving in the left lane needs to get over. But we're up to a cruising speed now, so I think we'll be all right. I think looking ahead, it probably will drive a little bit more into some weather. So good little test here as we're driving. It's 7:30 in the morning. Traffic's gonna start picking up here. People are headed to work. Pretty mild, cool Wednesday morning here in Colorado. So I think probably at the sake of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and speed us up. I'll jump in if something happens and talk to you about what's going on. But I think we're gonna have a pretty mild little drive. If we get a little bit more weather, I'll probably jump on as well. But we'll go ahead and speed up from this point. So enjoy the ride. I'll catch you as we get closer to the end of our destination. Up here as we're about to get off the interstate here on the north end of town now. Sorry, checking my mic. Um, so a little foggy up here, at least. So not necessarily too bad, but it's it is something at least. So kind of see how the car handles. Probably as we move a little bit more east here, as we get off, we'll have a little bit more contention with the fog as well. But that was a pretty smooth drive up the interstate on this dreary morning. I like to call it. I'll readjust my camera a little bit. So I'll take you here towards the end, and then we'll stop. But no disengagements at all. this point, from the start to now, and hopefully from the start to the finish of the video. So 13, like I say, been saying since 13.2.8, now we're on .9, that it's a pretty solid version of full self-driving, to a point where, be on the screen yelling at you, it is almost to a degree an unsupervised type of environment. I don't have to do much. There's a couple moments there on the interstate where you can see that cars were slamming on their brakes a little bit, and traffic was building here. So, but yeah, we're driving into a little bit more fog at least, which is a good little test up here because the road gets a little bit more windy as I get closer to work. But it's not terrible. I've seen worse. So I don't think we'll get necessarily a really, really good test here in terms of the fog, but the FSD, like I said, is basically it's at that verge of being unsupervised. That it's able to really get you from point A to point B. Um, and it can drive in multiple levels of different conditions, whether from snow to rain to. It's still got probably a little bit of work in some of those areas. I made a couple videos ago driving through some heavy rain. I was actually watching a video on probably X yesterday of a guy driving through really heavy rain wearing FSD, and then it obviously shuts down on him, tells him to take over because at that point it can't handle and see through much. So that's going to be the biggest hiccup probably, is in those more extreme weather conditions when it comes to how it drives as well. So, but 96% of the time, take those extremes out, it's able to do what it needs to do, and even in, like, dreary type of weather like this, this wasn't anything to write home about. It's just a cool, drizzly type of morning with a little bit of fog as we're seeing right now. But that's it. So we're about to turn into work here. So thanks for coming along. Uh, Subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and I'll see you next time.